All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening. I'd like to go ahead and call the Brooklyn City Council meeting to order. Mary Jo, can you please call the roll?
Kevin Tansky.
Here.
Sue Grodick.
Here.
Ron Van Kirk.
Here.
Meg Ryan Shaki.
Here.
Andy Selhertz.
Here.
Kathy Pucci.
She is absent this evening, excused.
Aaron Borowski.
Here.
Would you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Would you please join me as we open in prayer? Father, we thank you for the chance that we have to gather once again tonight as the governing body for our city. We thank you for the men and women who sit up on this platform tonight. Thank you for their willingness to serve their community. We thank you for the residents who have joined us tonight here in the room and for those that will be watching at home. I pray that you please guide and direct our decisions, that we would make wise decisions that will be pleasing to you. Please bless our time, we pray this evening in Jesus' name. Amen. The first item on our agenda this evening is our approval of minutes from our last meeting dated September 12th. Are there any comments or questions? All right, make a motion to approve.
Second.
To approve the minutes, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Sue Grodick.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
Just of note, before we begin, our next meeting will take place on Tuesday, October 11th, rather than on Monday, October 10th, and that'll be in observance of the Columbus Day holiday. At this time, we'll have the public session. If anyone in the audience is in to say for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn, please step forward, state your name and address, and you will be recognized. Please remember to keep your comments to 5 minutes or fewer.
Rob Slattery, 6600 Bucyrus Drive. On June 29th, the city held a safety / finance meeting that was scheduled to address the staffing of the fire department. The meeting started with the mayor throwing the on-duty firefighters out of that meeting. The people who have the most to offer to the discussion, and she forced them out of the meeting. I'd like to know why that was. It appears that the mayor is afraid of the truth. In that meeting, you stated that the city had budgeted 3 spots for open positions across all city departments, but the city chose not to fill them due to your claim of the rocky year and the uncertainty of taxes due to people working from home. Mayor, it was stated at that meeting, the closest fire department that would compare to Brooklyn Fire is Seven Hills. It was also mentioned that Seven Hills is mostly part-time. I don't know if that's true or not. Do you wish that Brooklyn Police would be a part-time police department, or is that your goal? I want to say that I really think that the fire chief, Kevin Paul, is a nice guy, and I like him as a person, but I'm actually sad that he's in the position he's in, that he just has to tell you what you want to hear. The fire chief and the police chief's position should be civil service. They are not simply in the hands of the mayor, who obviously has no experience in either of those jobs. The forced overtime shift issue is very well known outside the fire department. You're not going to recruit anyone until you fix that problem. You will end up losing firefighters who go to other police fire departments to escape the horrible conditions. I'm willing to bet there are some that are already taking tests for other cities. In my opinion, you have a clear vendetta against the fire department and are making them pay a heavy price that will eventually cost someone their life. The fire department is at the lowest manpower ever, and you have stated that the fire department will never go over 22 firefighters. How can you say that? Can you predict the future needs of that department? This is all going on while you plan to add countless row homes to further strain first responder resources. If your goal was to make their lives miserable, you've succeeded. Has the tax issue improved because now the city has posted they are hiring another mechanic? That makes 4 mechanics for the city. Why do we need 4 full-time mechanics? Why not spend that money on another firefighter? The firefighters were thrown out of a meeting about staffing, but were asked to attend a 9/11 event and then asked to attend a 9/11 breakfast at Cleveland Baptist Church, where the council president works. They've also been permitted to attend many meetings in this very chambers when it was a perfect time for a photo op for the city. I demand you stop using our firefighters as props just to make you look like you actually support the fire department. We need more firefighters. The overtime work for June, July, and August totaled 3,499 hours, 0.75 hours. I went to the CERB website and I averaged out the firefighter rates for the through their contract, and this roughly cost us $145,449.61 just to cover June, July, and August. That means in 92 calendar days, there was 145 short shifts. You are decimating this department and the morale is in the toilet. There was a firefighter who worked his regular shift and then got forced over to another 24-hour shift 5 times in a row. So he ended up working 240 hours of 360 hours. How you think that's safe, I have no idea. And I have quite another question for you, Mayor. Is it true that about a year or so ago, I came here and talked about the fire department, then the next day you visited the fire department, sat there working on your computer and asked firefighters who was talking to me? I suggest maybe you share that life coach with Dawn Neal, as you seem to have issues of your own. You talk at people and not to them. Your dictator ways are hurting the city. I will end with this question. What is the magic number of overtime hours that will finally force you to do the right thing?
Kelly Crawl, 10523 Manoa Avenue. As you know, there's the renewal levy on the ballot, issue 4 in November, and I just wanted to express my hopes that you will support it. It's an emergency renewal to avoid a deficit. It's 68 cents per $100 of the valuation of your home. There's no new taxes, and there's an information night tomorrow, September 27th at 6 o'clock in the auditorium, where anybody in the community can come and listen to Dr. Claris and Ms. Aholt talk about the issue 4 and also a presentation on the finances and the operation. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, we'll now have reports of committees, commissions, and boards. We'll begin this evening with our Recreation Board, Councilman Tansky.
Thank you. Safety Town Trick or Treat will be held on October 27th from 6:30 p.m. till 7:30 p.m. Pre-register www.brooklynrec.com beginning October 1st. Brooklyn Youth Basketball for grades 3 through 6 will run from November 2022 to March 2023. There will be an 8-game regular season plus playoffs, 1 through 2 weekly practices. Practices and home games to be held at Brooklyn Middle School Fieldhouse. Practices begin the week of November 7th and games January 2023. Coaches will manage teams and parents will be contacted in November by their assigned coach. If anyone is interested to volunteer coach, let them know at registration. Away games to be held at Middleburg Heights, Brook Park, North Olmsted, North Ridgeville, Columbia Station, Fairview Park, Westlake, and Strongsville. Register now through October 15th at www.brooklynrec.com. The next Recreation Board meeting will be held on October 17th in the Rec Center meeting room at 7 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Next up is the Domestic Abuse Commission, Councilman Shaggy.
In recognition of the Domestic Abuse Prevention Awareness Month next month, the Domestic Abuse Commission will be collecting donations for the Journey Center. I'll have more information at the next meeting, but wanted to give a heads up to anyone who wants to participate again this year. We'll be collecting baby items, including diapers sized 5 and 6, and baby wipes, as well as dish soap, Clorox cleaning wipes, laundry detergent, Kleenex, body soap, lotion, and deodorant. If you see sales or coupons, stock up now and be on the lookout for more information next month. That ends my report.
Thank you. The Committee of the Whole meeting took place prior to tonight's council meeting at 6:15 to discuss the following. The first 2 items on our agenda were Ordinance 2022-16 and 2022-17, and these are approving the plan of operation and governance for the NOPEC Natural Gas Aggregation Program. And the second one was to establish an opt-in for the natural gas program. We had representatives from NOPEC that were here at the last meeting to answer any questions on this, and council does recommend that both of these be adopted. Resolution 2022-31, if adopted at the third reading, which would be our next meeting, would establish a donation box impound fee. This would be for donation boxes that are placed on properties without the permission of the owners, and they have to be impounded by the city. There will be a $17 per day fee for holding those boxes until they are picked up. Resolution 2022-33 is approving and adopting the Cuyahoga County 2022 to 2027 All Hazards Mitigation Plan. This is a plan that's put together by the county in partnerships with the cities of the county, and it's updated every 5 years, and this would update the plan for 2022 to 2027. Resolution 2022-34 authorizes the mayor to pay the 2023 wages in accordance with the wage reopener language for the 2021 to 2023 collective bargaining agreement with the AFSCME Ohio Council 8, a local 3218 union, and that would be at a rate of 3%. Ordinance 2022-24, this would provide for the compensation for the part-time and full-time administrative employees. This had to do with the restructuring of how the senior center is what we're looking for, how the senior center is structured as far as being its own entity and placing it under the recreation department. There's still more information that's being gathered by the administration, so the administration has requested that we table this ordinance for this evening, and the committee did agree to do so when we vote in the council meeting. Ordinance 2022-25, amending section 1501.03 of our ordinances to conform the work of the fire safety inspectors to current practices. Again, this is a house cleaning item to bring our ordinances up to code with the state of Ohio. And then there is just one new item on the agenda this evening. This is resolution 2022-38. This authorizes a community cost sharing agreement with the sewer district for the 2022 street sweeping project. The dollars as part of this cost sharing agreement are very limited in what their scope of use can be. And one of those uses is the street sweeping project. And so any man hours that were used for that project during the year can be reimbursed through this cost sharing agreement. Again, this meeting takes place at 6:15 prior to the start of all regularly scheduled council meetings. All are welcome to attend. It does take place right here in council chambers. Next up is our legislative update. Councilman Borowski.
Thank you, Council President. My legislative update for today pertains to House Bill 721. This bill was just introduced this past week, and it would look to prohibit Ohio Supreme Court justices and other statewide executive officers from holding other employments or paid opportunities. An ethics commission would be set up to receive and initiate complaints against persons subject to this chapter of law being changed, considering violations of conduct. Again, this was just introduced this past week, so I'll be keeping an eye on it and reporting updates when appropriate. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Borowski. Next, we'll have a reports of council. We'll begin this evening with Mr. Tansky. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped planning commission. We'll have Mrs. Berg do that one first. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Thank you. Our next planning commission meeting is Wednesday, October 5th at 6 p.m. We have 4 items on our agenda. The first one is a request for a site plan approval for a drive-through ATM at 10002 Brook Park Road. The second is a request for a conditional use for a truck terminal in a general industrial district at 8800 Clinton Road. Third is a request for an illuminated sign for Advanced America at 6750 Bidoff Road. And the last item on the agenda is a request for an illuminated wall sign for Tire Zero at 4790 Ridge Road. And again, that meeting is Wednesday at October 5th at 6 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, and again, I apologize. We'll now move on with reports of council. Begin this evening with Mr. Tansky.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. The city of Brooklyn will be one of the first communities who will receive discounted broadband access through a partnership with the state of Ohio and Cuyahoga County. The pandemic has shown the need for the high-speed internet service and how important it is for everyone to be able to participate in the global economy. The first phase of the project is expected to be completed of January 2023. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Grodick.
Thank you. Just a few short thank yous. One thank you to go out to Jeremy Rowan for his double work of having the open house for the planning and zoning code update. That committee in that group is finishing up the work. And the second, he also organized an open house for the Kingdom Trail. And that will be in place by the end of this year and hopefully phase 1 of it. And the second thank you goes out to the everyone at the rec department who worked and volunteered for the fall festival. As a teacher, the kids were really excited and very talkative about how much fun they had. It was a beautiful Saturday, and I think Jack said there were estimated 1,200 attendees, and it was a really fun day, and I think Mary Jo would agree with us. It was great to see so many families, but especially the kids. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Ryan Chucky.
Thank you. September is Library Card Sign-Up Month. We are so lucky to have a Cuyahoga County Library branch right here in our city. Library cards through the CCPL are for more than just physical books. Other perks include ebooks and audiobooks, streaming of TV shows and movies, free music you can stream and download, a partnership with Tutor.com that allows one-to-one on-demand tutoring and practice for the SAT and ACT tests for free, and borrowing toys for kids, among other perks. Our library is a great one, so make sure you and your kids have access to a library card. You can visit our local branch here in the corner of Ridge and Hurricane Alley, or visit cuyahoga-library.org to get your card today. And also, in the Center for Solutions, 5 Things You Need to Know this week, they highlighted information about a new national resource. Similar to how one would dial 911 to connect for emergency fire and police services, there's a new set of numbers that you need to know about, and that is 988. It's a new national suicide hotline. 988 is a free federal service number via text or phone that provides 24/7 support for people who are in mental health distress or a suicidal crisis. Calls are currently available in English or Spanish, and translation services are available in over 250 languages. Texting is only available in English at this time. In addition to this, there is a Veterans Crisis Line to support veteran or active duty service members. After dialing 988, the caller can press 1 to be connected to this Veterans Crisis Line. Nationally, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in America, and in Ohio, suicide is the 3rd leading cause of death for people aged 10 to 34. Understanding the value and purpose of this new 988 system can save a life. That ends my report.
Thank you. Mr. Selhertz.
Thank you. Tomorrow there's the fresh fruit and produce giveaway over at St. Elias. Starts at 3:30. Please don't arrive too early. And my only other comment is I second what Mrs. Grodick said about this past Saturday with the Fall Festival. Really nice turnout. The weather cooperated and just everybody seemed to have a lot of fun. So thank you to the rec department and all the other departments that participated in it. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Borowski.
Thank you. And I'll piggyback on that as well. This past weekend's Fall Festival was absolutely fantastic. The families, the young children, as everyone most likely knows, I've got a very young son. He absolutely enjoyed it. And we also spent some time at Brooklyn Point's block party this past week, where they had a few food trucks, including Tom's Killer Donuts, and they were an absolute hit. And I'd like to also mention that the Brooklyn Point will have a trunk or treat event taking place on the 27th of October at 6 p.m., as well as the Safety Town trick or treat event at 6:30. So especially on the 27th, there is plenty to do for our children. And that ends my report.
Thank you. And I also want to thank Mayor and the rest of your team. Jack, I know he's not here for the Fall Festival. I was out of town, but my wife and my youngest son attended and had a great time. Got some nice videos from my wife from that. So thank you for that. It was an event that started several years ago, and it's a lot of fun. I think I read 1,200 and some attendees or something like that this year, so that's awesome, and we had beautiful weather as well. Also want to reiterate what Mrs. Kroll said about the informational meeting that takes place tomorrow night. In case you didn't catch that, it's at 6 p.m. At the school on September the 27th to discuss issue number 4. So again, it's tomorrow night, 6 p.m. At the school to discuss issue 4, and that, of course, is the renewal levy. All right, with that, I will turn it over to the mayor.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to first welcome our new law enforcement clerk who started today, Samantha Korber. Welcome to the team. I know my secretary put something out on social media today. Sue covered the open houses for the Kingdom Trail and the zoning. If you still have any other questions, the zoning website is still available. You can keep up to date on that. In addition to thanking Jack Abruzzi and the recreation staff on their wonderful work on Fall Festival this year, it was really all hands on deck. The police department, the fire department, the service department all had a role in this. I even know the service department was kind of a last minute addition with the hayride. We didn't know if we would be able to do it this year because of the trail work. And so they came in and planned very last minute. So thank you for all of you do. And then lastly, the trail work. As I speak of that, I just want to give an update on that. I know my assistant will be putting out something on social media with a map, but as far as the week of 10/3, the trail work will be the additional new trail that will be added from the Historical Society to the park. So the area down in Lower Memorial will not be impacted that much. But the week of October 10th will include the repaving of all of the trails that are south of the main road going down into the park. So it will be difficult to walk those trails during that week. And you will only be able to walk the trails on the northern half. And then the following week after that will be the repaving of the upper park trails. So everything will be put on social media tomorrow, hopefully. So just know that there's going to be limited access to the trails in the upcoming weeks. But at the end of it, it will be a nice cleanup of the Lower Memorial Park. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We just have one director's report this evening. That's our Finance Director, Mr. Riggs.
Good evening. Just one item for me tonight, just an overview of the general fund financial statement through August. Overall revenues are 74% of the estimated amount, 14% less than prior year due to a decrease in income tax revenue of $2.4 million. Much of that resulting in a decrease in one-time revenue we received last year and not receiving this year of $1.34 million, and a withholding loss of approximately $1 million year to date through August. On the bottom half of the income statement on the commitments, overall commitments are 70% of the budget amount and 3% more compared to August of last year. So it's pretty consistent year to year for the commitment side. We received our income tax distributions from RETA for September. Overall distribution is $1.2 million, $177,000 less than September of last year. Excluding any one-time or non-recurring revenue, we have a loss of approximately $62,000 this year. Withholding accounts for a loss of approximately $103,000, with net profit and individual income taxes accounting for a gain of $41,000. So September pretty much holding steady as we've experienced throughout this year, less than prior year. Some of that as a result of one-time non-recurring revenue. Other resulting as far as a loss in the withholding income tax base. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Raguse. We'll now move on with the legislation. The first item this evening is Ordinance 2022-16, approving the plan of operation and governance for the NOPEC Natural Gas Aggregation Program for the purpose of jointly establishing and implementing a gas aggregation program as a NOPEC member and declaring an emergency. Are there any comments or questions?
Move to adopt.
Second.
To adopt, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Sue Grodick.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-17 is up for third reading and adoption, authorizing all actions necessary to establish an opt-in natural gas program pursuant to the section 4929.27A1 Ohio Revised Code jointly through NOPEC as a NOPEC member.
Move to adopt.
Second.
To adopt, Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Sue Grodick.
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk.
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
The next 5 items are on second reading. Resolution 2022-31, establishing a donation box impound fee. Resolution 2022-33, approving and adopting the Cuyahoga County 2022 through 2027 All Hazards Mitigation Plan. Resolution 2022-34, authorizing the mayor of the city of Brooklyn, Ohio to pay 2023 wages in accordance with the wage reopener language in the 2021 and 2023 collective bargaining agreement with ASME Ohio Council 8, AFL-CIO Local Number 3218, clerical employees. Ordinance 2022-24, amending Exhibit A of Ordinance 2021-35, providing for the compensation for the part-time, full-time, and administrative employees non-bargaining agreement of the City of Brooklyn, Ohio. As I mentioned in my committee report, the administration has asked that we table this ordinance for further discussion, so I'll make that motion.
Second.
To table, Kevin Tansky,
Yes.
Sue Grodick,
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki,
Yes.
Andy Selhertz,
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
Ordinance 2022-25 on second reading, amending section 1501.03 of the codified ordinances of the City of Brooklyn to conform the work of the fire safety inspectors to current practice. We do have one new item this evening that will be on first reading. That is Resolution 2022-38, authorizing a community cost share agreement with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District for the 2022 street sweeping project. That is all that we have on our agenda this evening. Just one more update before we go, and that is our next meeting will take place on Tuesday, October the 11th, as opposed to Monday, October the 10th, in observance of the Columbus Day holiday. Does anyone else on council, the directors or mayor have anything they'd like to add?
May I be recognized?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, and nobody else did, but October 11th in Ohio is the last day to register to vote. We do have a lot of statewide offices and local issues. So if you need to update your registration or are registering new into Brooklyn, October 11th is when you need to do that.
Thank you, Mrs. Brody. Anyone else? Move to adjourn.
Second.
To adjourn, Kevin Tansky,
Yes.
Sue Grodick,
Yes.
Ron Van Kirk,
Yes.
Meg Ryan Shaki,
Yes.
Andy Selhertz,
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed evening.